How would you describe an NBA YoungBoy fan? I feel like y'all are the best fans out.
Loyalty.
So the fan said NBA YoungBoy would never make it out of Chicago. Turns out he's not going at all. The tour is canceled in Chicago.
We watched Chicago's biggest arena transform into the set of a real-life urban thriller. Thousands packed shoulder to shoulder, anticipation turning sharp as the house lights flickered down. NBA YoungBoy was finally back in the city after 6 long years. 6 years that had changed everything about the rap game and even more about his place in it. People had lined up from as far as Detroit and Milwaukee, blown hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 just to claim their patch of ground for a night that was supposed to be legendary. The air was thick, hopeful, restless. But just as the first bass rumbled, that electricity snapped in half. It started with a skirmish in the corner, barely visible at first, then 2, then 4. Suddenly the crowd was a tangle of bodies, shouts, flying fists, the whole floor fracturing under the weight of something far bigger than one man in one concert. We could see security trying to contain it, trying to keep the dream alive, but the chaos just multiplied.
So there is a video circulating from an NBA YoungBoy concert that went down in Kansas City. Now, NBA YoungBoy's concert or tour has been happening for some time. It's been going viral because the crowd, the NBA YoungBoy fans go hard for him. But at this specific concert in Kansas City, at the T-Mobile Arena, there was an elderly man in the video that is seen being attacked by a younger guy, like a really younger guy.
Elderly man was at the show.
And while the lights still pulsed, rumors went ricocheting through the United Center like stray bullets. YoungBoy had been arrested. Or maybe he was just dragged away by police, taken to the Doros, as the streets call it, a holding room somewhere deep in the bowels of the arena where stars disappear when things go sideways. Eyewitnesses swore they saw him in handcuffs, but no camera ever caught the moment. Others, camped out in the parking lots, claimed it was all a setup, that the real story wasn't on stage at all, but somewhere behind the scenes, where local cliques supposedly decided to make this night their own. The more we scrolled, the wilder the stories became. Was it a targeted disruption, a power play from gangs who'd rather see chaos than let a Louisiana outsider headline the city? Or was it just what happens when a rap beef gets too real for Instagram DMs and diss tracks? Every big show has its aftershocks, but this one came with a sense of betrayal we could feel in the air, echoing down Clark Street and out into social feeds worldwide. People had quit their jobs, skipped rent, even pawned their jewelry to be in that room. And now all they had to show for it was the memory of sirens and a pit in their stomach. So inconsiderate, people took off work, booked flights, hotels, spent their last to go to this concert, wrote one fan, the anger laced with disbelief. We saw another message twist the knife. They made sure he didn't perform in Chicago. There was no single villain, no single answer, just 1,000 voices screaming at once. Some blaming the rapper, some blaming the venue, others insisting the city's power players never wanted YoungBoy to take that stage in the first place.
For safety reasons, yes, it was good that it was called off, but at the same time, you got to think about the fans too. We put a lot of money into this.
But if Chicago felt like an ambush, Kansas City was the warning shot, a night that should have put everyone on edge. Back on September 21 in the glass-walled T-Mobile Center, the scene had veered straight into horror show territory. A 15-year-old fan detained, a 66-year-old staffer sprawled on the concrete after a brutal beating, officials describing the attack as horrific. It was all caught on cell phones, multiple angles, each more violent than the last, clipped, hashtagged, and posted before anyone even hit the exit. The videos hit social media like a bad omen, chairs flying, bodies surging, security overwhelmed. Within minutes, the clips had traveled the country and painted every remaining tour stop as a powder keg just waiting for a spark. That was Kansas City's curse and Chicago's warning. We remember how the arena in Chicago, already jittery from all that viral carnage, announced a policy that turned into its own urban legend. No bags of any size, not even clear ones, just essentials in your pocket and a prayer in your heart. Fans saw it as a red flag, some calling it discrimination, others just shaking their heads because, let's be honest, they'd been to pop shows here with no such rule. But for this show, suddenly the venue was a fortress. And the message was clear. If you bring trouble, you'll have nowhere to hide it.
Yeah, Marie, so far officials with the United Center have not given a specific reason for the cancellation, which came just 2 days before the concert was set to begin. Now, the cancellation did come a few days after the United Center announced a strict no bags of any size policy specifically for the NBA YoungBoy concert.
What really played out in that last hour before the breakdown? Some say the beef between YoungBoy and Chicago's own Lil Durk had gone nuclear again, that too many in the city still carried scars from King Von's final night. An altercation outside an Atlanta nightclub, a feud that exploded into violence and sent both camps into years of pointed lyrics, veiled threats, and actual loss. Every detail of that old story hangs over nights like this. when King Von, who'd once dismissed the idea of a real feud, was caught up in something no amount of denials could reverse, it pushed a rivalry from social media into real life. Since then, it hasn't just been music. It's been power, pride, and score settling, with the crowd as invested in the drama as in the music itself.
I'm not famous. I don't think about it. I just have a lot of people that know me, I guess. I'm terrified of people. I am very scared of people. Like on my kids. I am terrified of people, and I am very shy.
Online, the split was brutal and immediate. They really hated on NBA YoungBoy, someone spat on social. They made sure he didn't perform in Chicago. But another voice piped up, they made the right move. I don't think YoungBoy would have got hurt, but for the fans and other people, there may have been some drama. Even YoungBoy's manager took a shot at the United Center for out, though nobody wanted to say that out loud when the house lights flicked on and the refund emails started flying. The only voice with an ounce of calm came from YoungBoy's own mother, who surfaced online to set things straight. It wasn't canceled to hurt y'all, it was canceled to protect y'all, she said, and the irony was hard to miss. A night sold as a homecoming had ended with police lines and wounded pride. But even that explanation couldn't keep up with the rumors swirling through the parking lot, up the tunnels, and out across the internet. Some swore local gangs had been brought in to disrupt the event, that provocateurs were planted to stir up a scene big enough for the police to intervene. Others whispered that the police themselves had wanted a reason to flex, to show who really ran security in this town. Every angle seemed plausible when all anyone could see was flashing lights and armed officers blocking every exit.
A big disappointment for thousands of music fans in Chicago. The United Center abruptly canceled rapper NBA YoungBoy's concert. The show was set for tomorrow night.
SL Rezai reports from outside the United Center with reaction from fans who say they're left waiting for big refunds.
Meanwhile, fans watched their feeds fill with grainy footage, a flash of YoungBoy's jacket, a crowd of uniforms, the shadowy figure of the rapper disappearing into the mouth of a tunnel, surrounded by a swarm of law enforcement. Some videos claimed to show handcuffs, others just saw him hustled away, head down, not a single glance back at the roaring crowd. We have no official comment from his team, no word from the label, just the stark reality that the night ended not in an encore, but in confusion, tension, and that sick feeling you get when you realize you've paid to watch history get rewritten in real time. So what really happened behind those locked doors and metal detectors? Was this just another rap show gone wild? Or did the night collapse by design, the result of forces nobody in the front row could see? And as those last shaky phone videos keep circulating, we're left with one image burned into our brains. NBA YoungBoy, once again a ghost, in a city that's never forgiven and never forgotten, vanishing into a tunnel of flashing lights and uniformed arms, while outside the stories only get bigger, darker, and harder to believe.
Joe, Erica, there's another concert happening here at the United Center tonight, but we know it's been 6 years since NBA YoungBoy was on a stage in Chicago, and now fans here are going to have to wait even longer than that. Tonight, there's still no confirmation from the United Center as to why exactly the concert was canceled with just a 2 days notice.
What happened inside the United Center wasn't an isolated implosion. This was the latest act in a drama that's played out across Chicago's biggest stage before. We remember how last year, just blocks from where fans recently scattered, a Little Dirk concert at the same arena got axed in a storm of panic, triggered by false gunshot reports that turned a show into a stampede. There's a pattern here. Rap's marquee names descend, old feuds resurface, and the arena's management clamps down hard, sometimes with less than a day's notice. NBA YoungBoy's Chicago return had already been canceled once, back when the venue put out a 3-line statement and left thousands grasping for refunds and reasons. The venue keeps its lips zipped, but security fences keep rising, and we all know why.
Shit, a lot of Chicago artists can't perform in Chicago right now because of that girl's
Almost all of them.
And that's the standpoint I was looking from it too. I was like, when I first heard about it, I'm like, I'm already knowing like why B ain't backed out of it, but just like for safety reasons.
It's not just about one artist, one night, or even one city. Chicago, scarred by its own tragedies, never really left the shadows of 2020. That was the year King Von, a rising star close to Dirk, lost his life outside an Atlanta club after crossing paths with affiliates from YoungBoy's crew. From that moment, everything changed. The beef stopped being just about lyrics and studio flexing. It became a fault line, splitting fans, artists, and entire neighborhoods. And Dirk, who now waits for his day in court on a high-profile federal case involving an alleged attempt on Quando Rondo's life, still hovers over every YoungBoy tour date like a ghost. The rivalry didn't end when the tracks stopped. Instead, it calcified into something that even security scanners and no-bag policies can't keep out. As YoungBoy's Make America Slime Again tour carves its path from city to city, every new stop feels less like a celebration and more like a public safety exercise. The Kansas City chaos wasn't just a random flare-up, it set the expectation for every arena still on the schedule. Our immediate concern is the well-being of our staff who sustained serious injuries, T-Mobile Center management told reporters, after a teenage fan's outburst left a veteran employee battered. With every incident, the chatter grows. Some blame loose security, others say it's the inevitable result when decades-old rivalries go commercial. Still, a few industry veterans insist the violence isn't accidental. It's been woven into the marketing itself.
NBA YoungBoy's had a string of successful sold out arenas or whatever he's doing, and I haven't heard about nothing
at all.
No incidents. This is the first incident I've heard about.
Yes, and that's what I mean by like the energy is insane, but I haven't heard of incidents at all. But yeah, they are young. I actually we were talking about it. I want to go to the concert.
I actually want to as well.
We're watching an economy of conflict unfold. Court filings and civil lawsuits now claim that the biggest labels in the world, Sony, Universal, Empire, haven't just tolerated the risk, they've actively fueled it. According to attorneys for FBG Duck's estate, the labels operated as a criminal enterprise, signing and promoting artists precisely because their stories and feuds sold tickets and streams. The lawsuits allege that demises weren't a problem to avoid, they were a product to sell, with each new loss driving attention and profit. No major label has publicly admitted to any of this, of course, but the numbers don't lie. Tragedy means headlines, headlines mean engagement, and engagement is currency. Loyalty to NBA YoungBoy doesn't stop at streaming his latest track or throwing up a hashtag. It's a full contact sport, and in many ways, his fans are the most unpredictable force in the building. For so many in the crowd, his music isn't just a soundtrack. It's a lifeline, a badge, even a weapon. At these shows, we've seen devotion mutate into volatility, where a single shout, a sideways glance, or a passing insult can spark a surge of bodies, fists, and fear. It's not just about seeing their favorite rapper win. It's about defending his reputation, carrying his feud as if it were their own. The loyalty is real, and so is the danger. These fans show up ready for battle, convinced that any challenge to YoungBoy's name is a personal affront.
Why are you a YoungBoy fan?
His music is so real. Like, he came from the hood. I came from the hood, so it was like, feel me? Like,
she's a genius. If it weren't for the song Survivor, I wouldn't be here talking to you, 100%.
This combustible devotion is stoked every time a new diss track drops. The rivalry between YoungBoy and Lil Durk doesn't just play out in streams and trending topics. It detonates in real time, with online spats bleeding into actual altercations at venues from coast to coast. The rise of stan culture has transformed fans from passive observers into frontline soldiers, their identities tied up in the outcome of a musical grudge match. Social media turbocharges every slight, every lyric, every rumor until the lines between digital and physical, performance and reality blur beyond recognition. The result? Concerts where the most dangerous thing isn't always on stage, but swirling in the crowd. We can't ignore the emotional cost either, not for YoungBoy and certainly not for those who fill the arena hoping for a cathartic release. Every tour stop becomes a pressure cooker, an ecosystem where anger, pride, and grief collide. When security falters and violence erupts, it's not just evidence of poor planning or bad luck. It's a reflection of an audience stretched to its emotional limits, primed by months of online warfare, and carried away by a sense of belonging that sometimes turns feral. The fans are both shield and liability, amplifying YoungBoy's myth, even as they make each night more perilous than the last. Fans have watched stunned as the cycle keeps repeating. When King Von's life was cut short, the shockwaves hit Chicago hardest, but the wider industry barely blinked. FBG Dutch's loss, too, was filed away, even as his family sued everyone from OTF to the record labels themselves. What really gets the label heads moving? Not loss, but lawsuits and lost revenue. Meanwhile, the arena doors keep swinging, and new headliners step in before the smoke even clears from the last debacle.
Man, I was flooded with millions of dollars from the time I was 16 all the way to this point in my life. And I woke up one morning and I was like, damn, they got me. Man, look at shit I spoke about, look at the shit I put in these people's ears.
For YoungBoy, the stakes have never been higher, and the contradictions couldn't be sharper. He was supposed to be the comeback story, released from a nearly 2-year sentence for weapons charges, spared a future behind bars by an unlikely pardon from Donald Trump, his "I want to thank President Trump" statement echoing through headlines. He had the chance to flip the script, prove that redemption and reinvention were possible even in the hard-edged world of street rap. His team painted him as a survivor, a father, a man trying to build rather than break. But the facts keep catching up. Every week, a new brawl. Every city, another incident. Security is now less about protecting the star and more about triaging the fallout for everyone else. Rumors have started to circulate, some from ex-road managers, some from industry insiders, about just how far the authorities are willing to go now. A few whisper that the police presence at these concerts isn't about basic crowd control anymore. After Kansas City and Chicago, departments across the Midwest are treating every YoungBoy show as a potential flashpoint, a sort of rolling tactical exercise where the main act is almost secondary to whatever erupts in the crowd. And if the allegations about provocateurs are even half true, we could be witnessing a grim new chapter in arena security, concerts where the artist is essentially a high-value target. Every song a siren for trouble. And let's not forget, the legacy of these conflicts doesn't just stay in the headlines or the lawsuits. It plays out in the neighborhoods too. With Dirk behind bars awaiting his fate and YoungBoy barely keeping the show on the road, it's not just the music industry on edge, it's entire communities watching to see which domino falls next. We've seen it before. Rival camps circling, booking agents on edge, venues hedging their bets with last-minute bans, and every cancellation, every viral fight clip is another reminder that what's at stake isn't just reputation or profit, it's the future of arena hip-hop in America.
To have insurance, even like the touring company and all that too, so the premium for this show, given all of the history and what everybody can easily Google, is probably outrageous. They were
For
just
sure.
like, no, we can't do that. Take it on down to your next stop.
Y'all see Draco family trying to sue the venue where his
they-
demise
I mean,
is at.
as
So
they
that's
should.
the type that happened.
Yeah.
All of it came crashing together in Chicago. That night at the United Center wasn't just about a lost concert, but a city replaying its traumas in real time. The sirens, the flashing lights, fans heard it outside, no one sure if they'd witnessed a spectacle or a warning. We're left asking, was this the moment the Make America Slime Again tour unraveled for good? Or is this chaos just a sign of things to come? With every new date, a new flashpoint, every city another stage for drama no one can control. So now we're staring down the barrel of an uncomfortable truth. Is NBA YoungBoy's tour still a concert series? Or has it turned into a moving crime scene where ticket stubs double as evidence and every night could be the next headline? If Chicago melted down under the weight of history, rumor, and revenge, what will happen in Columbus, Brooklyn, or Boston? Are we watching the collapse of hip-hop arena tours in real time? Or just the birth of something even wild? You tell us. Has the music finally taken a back seat to the spectacle? Or does the next tour stop stand a chance? Drop your wildest theory or prediction in the comments, because this story is nowhere near over. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep your tickets close, and remember, out here, anything can happen.